All right, Steve, go ahead.
Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
It's good to talk to you again, and you've got a very big fight coming up here on June 29th at Pechanga Resort Casino in Temecula. You're fighting Kristina Williams. So, first of all, I want to tell you something that I heard yesterday when I spoke to the main eventer, Ilima-Lei McFarland. She said one of the other women on the card is a potential future opponent for her. Now, I'm assuming she meant you.
I hope so. I really hope so. She was the person that I had on mind. I was really hoping that this fight was going to be against her, and hopefully the next fight is going to be against her.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. I was going to ask you if beating Kristina Williams will put you in that spot.
I think so. I think she's the person I have to fight. Not that she has so many fights, but because of the way she fought and who she fought, especially winning against Ilima-Lei, that's the fight that makes sense. That's the fight that makes sense for me to open the doors for herself, more than Bruna Ellen. I was a little bit mad about this fight. I just felt like, and it's never with disrespect to anyone, I just felt like this fight was not going to take me any closer from this house, and I was really mad about it. So that's the fight that makes more sense to me.
And as you said, she has proven herself with a big win over Emily Ducote and a surprising, at the time, upset over Heather Hardy. Although I don't think it's an upset anymore. I think people have recognized that with her Muay Thai, her striking ability, that Kristina Williams is here to stay.
Absolutely. She is. She's young. She's going to keep improving. She already has really good skills. She's a natural fighter. You can see she's very calm when she fights. And these are important things for a fighter. You cannot teach that. You can train someone as much as you want to, but sometimes you can train for years and you're never going to get that. So that's a big plus that she has, and I think she's going to be there to stay. Not against me. She's going to be there to stay.
Right. Well, one of the things that she combines with that skill and her intense training and athleticism is she's got good range, too. She's a tall fighter, but you're a pretty tall strawweight yourself, or I'm sorry, flyweight now. I still keep flashing back to UFC, but what do you think about the fact that she's
thank you.
she's size-wise a really good matchup for you?
Yes. Well, you know what's weird? I like to fight taller fighters more than shorter fighters because I think of the way I fight. I like to fight tall. So shorter fighter, they get annoying because they always under. For MMA, it's more than just for takedown, so you have to be more aware of takedown and stuff. I mean, it's a technical thing, but that's what it is. And then I haven't fought very often taller fighters than me, but I have very long arms. My arms are longer than my height, so I think she does too. It's gonna be interesting. Two long, lanky fighters.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a beautiful war to see, but I have to say you just came up on a hell of a coincidence because yesterday to Ilima-Lei, I said one of her advantages was that she's shorter than a lot of her opponents and she gets takedowns, and she started laughing when I said that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talk about reach and reach and reach. It's nice to have the reach, but you really need to adjust yourself because it can be, when you have long arms, by the time you bring it back, I mean, sometimes they're already there. Boom, up your hips and take you down. So I think for a grappler, it's actually an advantage. Not I think, I'm sure. It's an advantage to be more like shorter and more stocky. So.
Well, your striking game is always on point. It has been, and now you get the perfect opportunity to show it. But at the same time, I think it's been maybe 8 or 9 years now since we've seen you get a submission. Do you ever think that people are maybe sleeping on that just a little?
For sure. I like that. That's fine. They want to think I don't have any jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've been training jiu-jitsu for a very long time. It's just that I really enjoy fighting on my feet. I love training stand-up. It's been 20 years I'm doing this, and it's been 20 years I'm smiling when I'm doing this. I really love stand-up. So this is where I spend the most of my time in my fight, but if the opportunity comes, as soon as I hit the ground, I know I have submission there. And, I mean, I've shown it in a couple of my fights. I mean, I didn't necessarily finish, but I can be pretty aggressive on my guard.
Indeed. I'm not disputing that in any way, and anybody who's watched your fights will know that as well. So, we've talked about how you match up with Kristina Williams, but we've also got this main event with Ilima-Lei. She's defending the title against a relative newcomer to Bellator in Alejandra Lara. How do you think you would match up with her?
Yeah, you're not the first one to have this question. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about Lara. I haven't watched her fight, not because I don't care, because I never watch fights just to watch fights. I always watch my opponent over and over. I watch all their fights and analyze everything, but I'm not someone who sits in front of the TV and watch fights for fun. So unfortunately, I don't know much about her, and it's hard for me to judge this fight. And I mean, I'm gonna have to look up for her, but right now I'm so focused on my fight that I didn't really take the time to watching every fight. That's I cannot have an opinion. I don't know.
No, that's perfectly reasonable. In fact, I can understand that laser-like focus, but if she beats Ilima-Lei, then you're going to have to get to know her one way or the other, because if you want that title, you'll be coming for her.
I'm going to watch everything, every single piece I can find.
And I'm sure to some degree, like, obviously you're focusing on Kristina Williams, but at the same time, in the back of your mind, you want that title, so you're not watching fights just to watch them, but you are keeping an eye on Ilima.
Yeah, well, I had an eye on Ilima. I've been watching Ilima. I was watching Ilima. I even started switching my training for Ilima. You know, she's the one I had in mind. But that's fine. I mean, it's going to make me deserve even more the title shot. And, I mean, whoever wins this fight, I hope Ilima's going to win, because I would like to fight her. But, you know, whoever I'm going to have to fight to get this belt, I will.
Right on. So, how do you feel about this, as Ilima-Lei put it, girl power card, with 2 of the 4 fights on the main card, yours included, being women, and 4 women's fights on the card as a whole?
I love this. I love making history for women. I love that. Just when I fought for the belt in Australia, that was the biggest show of the history, and I was co-main event and main event 2 female title fight, and I was very excited about that. And I feel the same about this card. This is great for us. This is great for women, and there's a reason why they keep pushing more for us. I mean, I'm sure people like to see, they enjoy watching us fight.
Absolutely. And that's why you're in this spot, because like you said, you've got the history of being there when records were made and records were broken, and it's happening here again with 4 women's fights on 1 card. So it's a historic moment for Bellator, and you're going to go out there and shine. I'm sure you're excited, but how do you feel the crowd is going to respond in Temecula?
Well, I'm sure they're going to like it. I mean, for sure, there's none of these fights that's going to be boring. I'm sure our fight is going to be exciting. I cannot watch myself to watch this fight. So, yeah, it's going to be a great card.
Excellent. So you've talked about how your love for stand-up and striking is always evident, but what else have you worked on recently in your camp? Have you done anything that would surprise people?
Everything, but what is the best for me is I got my strength back. It took me so long, even when I fought Kate Jackson, I didn't even feel like I was at the 100% of my strength compared to when I was fighting at 135. So I feel really strong. This is one of the things I've been working on, you know, mixing up more my game and be able to adjust with who I'm fighting. So, and like I said, I was thinking, you know, that I was going to fight Ilima, so we've been focusing on her for a little bit. I've been working on my wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I always keep doing everything. I mean, my week are very mixed with all type of classes, and I never skip one. It's always mixed with wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and striking and conditioning. So,
do you find now that the strength and conditioning comes easier to you without making the severe weight cut that you were making in UFC?
Oh, yeah, so we can do so much more things. I mean, we had to be careful not to put too much muscle on. And, I mean, even I remember Hector was telling me, stop lifting weight. I'm not lifting weight, but when you lift people up in training, you gain muscle. You know, you can get away with it. The only way that you're not going to gain muscle is not to eat and not to eat too much protein, not to eat too much of this and this and that, but you start feeling so weak. It's just nonsense. You're a fighter. You want to feel strong. You want to feel like you have the energy to push in training and be strong for the fight. You're not supposed to go there trying to lose strength. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like 125 is really my weight class. I've been gaining a lot of strength, and I feel like I can really focus on my training and performing.
Now, a lot of fighters have been asked in the last week or so, based on what happened to Yoel Romero, whether or not morning, afternoon, or possibly even evening weigh-ins are better. Where do you stand on this? What do you think is the best time for a fighter to step on the scale?
Oh, man, the first one, did you all say you didn't like the morning weigh-in? Because, the first one that asked me this, is this why you're asking me this? Did you all say you didn't like the morning weigh-in?
I have no objection to morning weigh-ins because I figure a fighter is going to cut to whatever weight they can make no matter what time of day it is.
I'll be honest with you. I screwed up my first morning weigh-in. I've missed weight from 1 pound, 1.2 pound, I think. And really, I think I could have made 115. I was going to be able to cut more. We just ran out of time. And that was the first time, like, we just planned, okay, we're going to cut that much that night, and tomorrow morning we're going to cut that much. But it was not going off on that morning. It's just, I don't know, maybe I fell asleep too dehydrated, and then the body just said no more. But I was not losing.
Sorry, you cut out there at the end. You were not losing.
Just I was not losing the weight like I was supposed to, and we screw it up. And I think it's just, I prefer the morning weigh-in. It's better for the fighter. We have more time to rehydrate and eat and recover for the fight. But it's an adjustment, and you need to change your weight that you cut weight. We need to cut more weight the night before, go to bed maybe more dehydrated, and then, you're ready to jump on the scale in the morning. It's different, but it's an adjustment for the fighter. Maybe it can happen that you didn't calculate your stuff like you usually do, and I can see this, but it was not his first weigh-in in the morning.
Well,
so for me, we did that test. We know how to make it work.
Right, and I think the key here is that some fighters are just trying to fight too far down. As you said yourself, you're stronger, you're healthier at 125. Maybe that's a decision fighters like Yoel Romero need to make, is maybe I'm better off fighting at a weight class up so I'm not trying to cut too much weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially at his age. Come on, he's like 40 years old. You cannot, I see the difference even for me. I'm 35. You cannot, and the time you take to recover is longer too. So you cannot put your body through this so much. You don't lose weight that easy anymore and water that easy. And I think the more weight cuts you go through, the worse your body reacts sometimes. So I think it's smarter just to fight in your natural weight class and don't go to that struggle before fight.
Well, you'll get no argument from me on that one. So I'm going to say I believe that you're going to come in healthy, strong, on point in weight, and you're going to have a great fight with Kristina coming up here on June 29th.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dan, as well.